Welcome to a special bonus episode of Completely Booked.
I'm Jenna Hassel.
And I'm Hurley Winkler.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard about the Great American Read, where PBS wants America to vote for their favorite book.
We caught up with Circe Le Noble from our local PBS station, WJCT, to discuss the Great American Read and what we are doing in Jacksonville to promote it and how you can get involved.
So here is Circe Le Noble, the Grants and Education Outreach Manager for WJCT.
Circe, thank you so much for joining us to talk about the Great American Read. We're so excited to hear more about it.
Thanks. I'm super excited as well.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the Great American Read. What's the mission of it?
So the mission of the Great American Read is really to engage everybody, talking, reading more, but creating a community conversation about reading and why it's so important and why we love it so much.
Awesome. What do you think is a great way to engage Jacksonville in reading specifically?
Well, it's interesting because before we started our official campaign about the Great American Read on WJCT, I watched the preview show and I wrote down a bunch of quotes that authors had said about their works, and I just put it out there on my own Facebook, and I probably had 20, 25 people commenting, and just on that simple one quote. And then I started personally again posting about the Great American Read, and I had so many people are like, my favorite book was this, is this on the list, or why is this on the list? So just it was grassroots just in my own world. It was really easy to get people talking about it because it's something I think pretty universal. Everybody has at least one favorite book.
And everyone loves a competition, too, which I feel like is what they've tried to create here, is everyone wants their favorite book to win.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get everyone I know to vote for it.
My favorite needs to be America's favorite, too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Little healthy competition never hurt anybody.
That's what we love here in America.
Oh, yeah.
Competition.
It is true. We're a nation built on it.
Well, and it's also about seeing how many books, who's read the most.
Right? I agree. I was very disappointed when I went through the list and counted mine. So I'm going to have to get
And
reading.
I still haven't done that because I'm a little afraid to see how few I've read of these books. But yeah, no, I think everyone I've talked to, the numbers have been pretty low. But,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And like I said earlier, I've only read 14, and I have a bachelor's degree in literature. So it's kind of depressing, but we've all read different books, and we did it. My whole family did it. So my mother, my grandmother, my daughter's read more than I have. My mother was up in the 40s, and she's working her way through the whole list. And my grandmother was up in the 50s.
Wow.
So,
wow, dang.
But then I have friends who've read in the 50s or 60s and of these particular books. But yeah, it's been kind of fun. We had a bunch of people at work do it, and some people wouldn't fill it out. They'd just mark their favorite book.
Mm-hmm.
But you're surprised sometimes when you have everybody check off which ones they've read, and then it always starts the conversation. You can't just have a group of people fill out the list and then just say, I've read this many. Because then you start this is why, this is my favorite book, and this is why. And
Very true, yeah. So we're talking about this list of 100 books that have been narrowed down. Tell us, for listeners who don't know, tell us a little bit about this elusive list.
So PBS started with YouGov, which is an opinion polling service. And they reached out to over 7,000 people and asked them for their favorite book. And basically their guidelines were it had to be fiction, it had to have been printed in English, and that was really where they started. And so then they had a panel of 13 industry specialists who looked over the list. They also could put forth a book for consideration. And then they started narrowing it down, obviously by, gross numbers, but then they also helped with an author could only have one book. And like Harry Potter, some people would pick the fifth book, but they put it all together so it could be a series. So Harry Potter's represented, Hunger Games, Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, things like that. So that kind of helped narrow down the list as well. And then they went and took into consideration representation of different cultures, different backgrounds, socioeconomic, geographic, racial, all those kinds of things to try and make an inclusive list. And it's obviously not a perfect list. And that was kind of funny watching Facebook is when we first announced the list. That was one of the biggest things. Well, how did 50 Shades of Grey get on this list?
Right.
Or Twilight? But they got a lot of votes and they wanted to be representative of all areas.
It's a favorite book, not best book.
Exactly.
So you can't be too biased. It's not a whole book of just, strict American literature or, acclaimed novels. It's things that everyday people read.
Exactly.
Some of these things I'm like, I would love to read this whole book, but I'm just not going to be interested in that title, you know, and that's okay for everyone. So I think they did a great job. I mean, it's really inclusive, like you said, and there's something for everyone. There's, young adult novels like Twilight, so everyone can vote, I was almost embarrassed as to how long ago I read some of these books. A lot of them I read as a kid in school, and I'm like, I don't remember enjoying that, though. It wasn't real young adult fiction to me.
Right.
So
yeah,
what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I know. Longer than that.
Still so young. So young. What first struck you about the Great American Read when you first heard about it?
Well, we're a bunch of nerds. We're total bibliophiles. We're total nerds. We have over 2,000 books in a library at home. The first thing I did is went home and found out how many books we had in our own library, and we had about 42.
Oh my gosh.
And then we marked all the ones we didn't have and went out the next weekend and bought about 20 of those. So for me personally, I was so excited, and it's so much fun. And a lot of my friends and family are kind of like that as well. So that's kind of what struck me is how initially fun it was for me personally. And then when I got so many different responses on Facebook, how fun it is for so many people and how easy it is to start a conversation, just saying, what's your favorite book? And like you said, it's not the best written book. It's not the BBC 100 Reads Before You Die book. It's what's your favorite?
Right. Yeah, there's some beauty in that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a big part of the Great American Read is encouraging the public to vote for their favorite book based on this list of 100 books, which you explained how that's narrowed down. What does the voting process itself look like?
So the voting process is really easy. It's online or on Facebook, and you can vote every day. You can vote for your favorite book every day, or you can pick a new one every day.
Ah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can vote as many times as you want.
As many times as you want. Each book has been assigned a hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Vote, and then a small word following the, so vote outsiders, which is what I would say. And then you can also go to wjct.org/events. And the very first event is the Great American Read. And from there you can vote online. And again, it's per day. So they kind of track IP addresses that way. So Twitter and Facebook as well.
And when does the voting close?
The voting closes, I believe, October 22nd.
Oh, so we got a long time.
So yeah, you do. You have all summer. It launched on May 22nd with a premiere program introducing the 100 books. And Meredith Vieira hosted it. It was a 2-hour program. Some of the books they go into more in depth about, but some of them they just kind of say, here's on the list. And it's really neat because I wanted to immediately see how they categorize 50 Shades of Grey.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was in the section of books that have been banned.
Ah,
that makes sense.
That's true.
And it was a little weird seeing, Catcher in the Rye, Catch-22, 50 Shades of Grey, Sun Also Rises. Kind of one of these things doesn't belong here, but it is part of it. And they talked about that it was Brevard County, the library in Brevard County, Florida, where it was banned. 50 Shades was banned, and a bunch of people signed a petition to get it back on the shelves. So it was kind of a Florida
Of course it was
too.
Florida. All
Yeah.
the quirky facts are from Florida.
Right. Florida man bans book. So you mentioned that there's a PBS series on the Great American Read too. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it started with the May show, and then in September, what they're going to do, they're doing smaller episodes, and these all air on PBS and here locally on WJCT at 8 p.m. And so in September, they're going to start doing smaller episodes that are categorized by topic. So there's going to be a program on heroes, which I'm guessing is going to be like Harry Potter. I think Da Vinci Code might be on there.
True. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a total nerd about this. So I've done a list for each category
Wow.
that I think. So some of the others on the heroes I thought would be obviously Hunger Games, To Kill a Mockingbird, Lord of the Rings, maybe The Martian.
Sure. Yeah.
Those are some of those.
Definitely.
Who Am I? So Color Purple, Great Gatsby.
Okay, and this is another theme. Who
Another
am I?
theme,
Sort
another
of
one of the-
exploring self-discovery.
Yeah, Call of the Wild.
Right.
That'll be another program. Then they're doing Villains and Monsters.
Ooh,
That'll be good.
that's
Frankenstein, Gone Girl, the Lonely Bones. Again, Harry Potter I think fits into all of them. And then Other Worlds. And then What We Do for Love.
fun. Very nice. So it's broken up into themes that are pretty apparent in these books too.
Yeah.
And we also have some programs here at the library and also at WJCT coming up surrounding the excitement of the Great American Read in our community. These programs are occurring in August and September, I think, primarily.
Yeah, so you get a sneak peek at these small episodes.
Okay.
And so the library and WGCT and UNF are getting together to put these events on. So we'll do it before they air, the programs. So the first one is Sunday, August 5th, and it's here at the downtown branch of the library from 3 to 5. And that topic is Who Am I?
Okay.
With Dr. Clark Lundberry. He's a professor at UNF of
Okay.
English.
Very nice.
So are they just going to discuss what they think is going to be covered on the PBS special, or what?
Well, you'll actually get to see a preview of the episode.
So that's like a sneak peek that no one else has seen. Ah, exclusive.
Ooh,
And
so
then
exclusive.
discuss it. you know,
Nice.
the
With this
topics.
professor. So then
Yes.
each other theme will have professors coming from UNF to talk about the themes.
And I
Very
believe
cool.
there will be books available.
Oh, like giveaway books?
Yes, giveaway books.
Ooh.
Not
Free.
like
I love
one
a
of
freebie.
everyone, but
Okay.
like for the first so many that show up, they get a free book.
Oh, wow. So mark your calendars, listeners, for these exciting programs. That sounds so fun.
And they can find out about all these dates and times, like I said, at wjct.org/events. So the final top 10 program will be Tuesday, October 23rd at 8 p.m. on WJCT. And that will count down all the voting and give us the top 10 Great American Reads.
And for listeners, how can they find WJCT and PBS? What channel is that?
It's 7.1 or Comcast 8 and 440.
Perfect. Love it. You mentioned earlier that the book you would vote for is The Outsiders. Why did you pick that book?
That's the first book I can really remember reading and remember crying in. And I can still recite The Nature's First Green is Gold, Her Hardest Hue to Hold, Robert Frost poem at the end. And that's the first and only book I've read more than 3 times.
Wow.
And I can't really relate to the characters per se, you know, Oklahoma and living on the wrong side of the tracks, but just something resonated with me. And it's wonderful because every time I read it again, it's a different time in my life. So it means something more every time. And I was lucky enough that my daughter had to read it in, I think she read it in 7th grade. And so I was super excited and hoped that she loved it as much as I did. And she liked it a lot.
Oh,
so.
that's good. Proud mother
Something to
moment.
share,
I bet.
yeah.
That's cool.
Proud
Very
lit
special.
major mother moment.
yes.
Oh, for sure.
I love it. And do you have a prediction of which book might win the Great American Read, the title of the Great American Read?
I have a prediction, and it's entwined with a hope.
Okay, sure.
I hope it's something like To Kill a Mockingbird, something that talks about who we are or who we as Americans strive to be. something that represents the good in us, and so that's what I think and what I hope.
Yes.
I think it'll be more of a classic.
I hope so too.
It's up to you folks.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Everybody should vote every day.
Every single day.
It's fun, and talk to your friends about it.
Right. I love it. I voted for my book, and I was hoping that I could see where the rankings were, because I want to we're so close to the top type thing.
Which book did you vote for, Jenna?
I feel like I voted for 2, but the one I voted for the most is Harry Potter.
Yes.
Well, and it's really hard to narrow down.
I know.
Right.
Because I love Harry Potter, and it made such an impact, and in lots of people's lives.
Definitely, mine too. Yeah. I still haven't voted. I have to narrow down my choices, I think.
You need to count how many you've read too. Really.
I do. I need to do that. But I think the book for me, like what you said about The Outsiders, it's like the first book that made you cry and made you like feel a lot. For me, that was Where the Red Fern Grows.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that was mine.
Same.
I just remember like old Dan and little Anne crawling up to the protagonist on their I just remember like sitting in my bed in like 4th grade and reading that and just be like, the world is so cruel. This is terrible. But but that's what literature's for, is to make you feel those things.
It is. And it's oftentimes the book that elicits an extreme response, not the most eloquent or imaginary or whatever. It's like Stephen King's Misery.
Right.
I had never read a book where I was reading and I jumped and screamed and threw the book. When she comes over the couch with the typewriter at the end, I wasn't expecting it, and I was like watching a movie and went, and threw the book. So that's something that I always remember as well.
Right. Yeah.
And that's incredible that he can do that with, just words. You're not seeing any pictures, but
you're not hearing the dramatic music building up.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah. So where can we learn more about WJCT's role in the Great American Read besides wjct.org/event? So you guys on social media?
Yes, we are. We absolutely are on Facebook at WJCT's on Facebook, and we're also doing a fun thing where we are finding some people around town and asking them what their favorite book is and why, and to promote voting for that. So we've spoken with Marsha Oliver from the city of Jacksonville. We've also spoken to Mayor Curry and his wife, and the new executive director of the library, Tim, and I don't know his last name.
Tim Rogers. Mr. Rogers, as I like to call him.
That's
little PBS
perfect.
tie-in.
Yeah. Tim Rogers, the executive director of the library, has given his testimonial as well. So we're putting those out on social media and on TV and radio.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, Circe, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us about books. It's been a blast.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
It has been fun.
Go vote, everyone.
Go vote.
So I needed to know the real nerd status of Hurley. So I made her sit down and mark all of her books before we talked any further, so I could just know how deep her literature nerdness ran.
And my nerd status does not disappoint, I don't think, because I have read 34 of these books, y'all. Jeez. Your girl has been locked away reading for the past 25 years.
I'm so impressed.
Yep.
And
thank you. I am too.
Not
a little
disappointed.
shocked.
Really?
But yeah, I don't know. I guess, a master's degree in creative writing can do that for a person.
Okay.
But
that makes sense then.
I was all right.
I was pleasantly, I've only read 13 of these books.
That's pretty good.
But I was pleasantly surprised that I had read that many.
This list is kind of weird, y'all. It's got some stuff on here. Like, we talked about 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
That's on here. But
lots of books that I've, maybe never heard of. Charlotte's Web is on here.
You never heard of Charlotte's Web?
I've heard of it. I'm just saying you wouldn't have guessed.
Ugh, what a great book, though.
I know.
Which one do you want to win?
I don't know.
Harry Potter? You mentioned Harry Potter.
I think Harry Potter would be a good, but it wasn't an American author. I don't know if that matters.
I don't think it matters. There are a lot of international authors on here.
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of with Circe on this. I think it's something that kind of represents the, the goodness in America would be cool.
Indeed. Yeah, I think I'm with her. I want I want To Kill a Mockingbird to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good classic.
What a great book.
I agree. And also, I didn't know about they were going to do the sneak peeks of the PBS special Great American Read at our programs here in Jacksonville.
So exciting.
Yes. So make sure you guys check out jackspubliclibrary.org/events to find those. All those programs are in August and September. And all the programming for the Great American Read is offered as part of a grant from the American Library Association and PBS. So shout out to them.
Shout out ALA.
Whoop,
Shout
whoop.
out PBS.
And don't forget, the first 30 attendees at these programs receive a free gift, which
Yes.
we might have heard is possibly one of the books on our 100 book list.
Very exciting. Who doesn't love a free book, y'all?
Yeah.
That's the best.
Add to your personal library.
Indeed.
All right, so there can only be one winner, guys. So
There can only be one.
out of 100, there can only be one. So make sure you vote.
So if you go to pbs.org/Great American Read, click on vote and choose your favorite book, or you can select your favorite book's hashtag, which you can also find on pbs.org/Great American Read. Post that hashtag on Facebook or tweet the hashtag on Twitter.
And that counts as a vote.
Indeed, indeed. And you can vote once a day, every day through the end of this, which is October 22nd. So get it together. Vote for your favorite book.
And we have most of these books at our library.
We sure do.
We even have a display here at the main library. So
Indeed.
come check out the shelf. Check one out that you haven't read yet. Or just check out your favorite. Renew the love.
Renew the love. Make sure you subscribe to Completely Booked wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star rating.
And follow us at Jack's Library on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And make sure you visit our website, jackspubliclibrary.org/podcasts to learn more about Completely Booked.
And the Great American Read. We'll have all these links on our website, so check those out, and you can also subscribe from there.
This podcast was produced by Brian Thomas, aka BT, aka Producer Brian. Goodbye.